All right, let's talk Azure Data Factory. Today, we're going to go right under the hood to look at its core machinery. I mean, how does it connect to all your different data sources, and what's actually doing the work? Well, the answers are two key components: linked services and integration runtimes. Let's dive in. So, you've got this central hub, Azure Data Factory, right? But how in the world does it manage to talk to everything? Think about it for a second. From a database up in the cloud to a server that's literally sitting in your office, it's got to have a way to connect to all of it securely and reliably. That's the puzzle we're going to solve today. Okay, so here's our game plan. We're going to start with how we make those connections and, just as important, how to do it securely. Then we'll dive into the engine room of ADF, the integration runtimes, and check out the different types. And of course, we'll wrap it all up with the key takeaways. All right, first things first, connecting your data. If you think of Azure Data Factory as your main data integration hub, well, any good hub needs an address book, right? It's got to know where everything is. In ADF, that address book is made up of what we call linked services.
And the concept here is actually surprisingly simple. A linked service is really just a stored connection. It's kind of like a contact in your phone. It holds the name, the address, and all the credentials you need to connect. The beauty of this is, instead of typing all that stuff in every single time, you just create one reusable linked service. Super convenient.
Now, this part is absolutely crucial. Linked services are not just for your data sources, like a SQL database. They also connect to your compute resources. Think Azure Databricks, for example, where you might be running your data transformations. So what this means is that linked services define both the where's the data from and the where are we going to do the work. They cover your entire pipeline.
Of course, the second you start talking about connection strings and passwords, you have to talk about security. I mean, storing credentials directly in your pipeline or your code, that's a huge no-no, just a major risk. And that's exactly where Azure Key Vault comes into the picture. It is the best practice for handling this stuff. And the process for this is a really straightforward three-step flow. First, you take your secret, your password, your API key, whatever, and you store it safely in Azure Key Vault. Step 2, you create a linked service in Data Factory that connects to that Key Vault. Then, for the final step, when you're setting up your database linked service, you don't type the password in directly. Nope, you just reference the secret from Key Vault. And just like that, you've completely decoupled your secrets from your pipeline code, which is just a massive win for security. Okay, so our connections are all set up and they're secure. Awesome. But what actually does the work? The copying, the moving, the dispatching of all these jobs. Well, that is the job of the integration runtime. This is the true engine room of Data Factory. So, the integration runtime, or IR, is basically the compute power humming away behind the scenes. It's what's doing all the heavy lifting. When you run a copy activity, it's the IR that's physically moving the data. When you execute a stored procedure, the IR is what sends that command over to the SQL server. Honestly, without an IR, your data factory is just a bunch of blueprints with no construction crew to actually build anything.
Now, here's the thing. Not all of your data lives in the same place. So, it makes sense that you can't just use one single engine for every job. That's why Data Factory gives you different types of integration runtimes for different scenarios. And believe me, choosing the right one is absolutely key to building a pipeline that works effectively.
There are three main types you really need to know about. First up is the default, the Azure IR. It's fully managed by Microsoft, so you don't have to worry about it, and it's perfect for moving data between cloud services. Next up is the self-hosted IR. This is the one you manage, and it's used for securely getting to data that's inside a private network. And finally, there's the Azure SSIS IR, which is a specialized runtime for lifting and shifting existing SSIS packages to the cloud.
Okay, so let's drill down a bit. The Azure IR handles cloud to cloud. We get that. But what about all that data that's not just sitting out on the public internet? When exactly do you need to go through the trouble of installing and managing your own runtime, the SHIR?
Well, here's the simple rule of thumb. You use Azure whenever your data is behind a firewall. This could be a server in your office, or maybe a virtual machine in a private Azure network. Think of it as a secure gateway. And here's the really clever part. Because it only makes outbound calls to Azure, you never have to open up risky inbound ports on your firewall. It's a secure bridge from your private world to the Azure cloud.
Now for our third type. For anyone who's been in the data world for a while, you know SQL Server Integration Services, or SSIS. It's been an absolute enterprise workhorse for years. Tons of organizations have a massive investment in SSIS packages. So,
What role does the Azure SSIS IR play for them?
In essence, this IR is a migration tool. Its whole purpose is to let you take those existing, well-tested SSIS packages and run them in Azure as is. It's a lift and shift approach, which means you can move your data integration to the cloud without having to rewrite years and years of business logic. It's a really powerful bridge from your on-premises past to your cloud future.
Okay, let's bring it all together and connect the dots. Here are the key things you need to remember from all this.
So, first, linked services. They're your reusable connections, your address book. Second, Azure Key Vault. Always use it to secure the credentials for those connections. It's the best practice for a reason. Third, integration runtimes. These are the engines that do the actual work. And finally, you have to choose your engine based on where your data lives, the default Azure IR for cloud, a self-hosted IR for on-premises, and the SSIS IR for migrating your existing packages. When you put it all together, these secure connections and these powerful engines, you really have the fundamental building blocks for any modern data platform in Azure. So the real question is, now that you understand how they work together, what are you going to build?
And that's our look at linked services and integration runtimes. Hey, if this explainer helped you connect the dots, please do us a favor and hit that like, share, and subscribe button for more deep dives into the tech that shapes our world. Thanks for joining us.